Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome along to our guide on using Courseplay. In today's video we're going to take a look at working with offset tools. Now by that I mean any tool which doesn't trail straight behind the tractor or vehicle that you're using it on. So we've got a plow here in the background. Think of a mower which might just stick out one side. Now Courseplay is actually very intuitive and does this pretty much all automatically, but I have come across a couple of mowers, and you would have seen the mower we used, the Vermeer mower we used in the Create Custom Fields video, episode 3. You would have seen in there that that one didn't actually work with an offset, so we'll look at how to fix that. But first up, we're going to jump into the plow here. We've got that behind the John Deere. We're going to go through and set up a course and see how the offset works, make it quite visible and obvious to you how the offset settings all go and what you can tweak. We'll go and have a look at a field with a standard sort of wing mower. We've got this Maze wing mower set up on a tractor, and then we'll take a look at the Vermeer one. So let's jump into the tractor now. Actually, before we do that, there has been an update to Courseplay released just today. We're now up to version 8.0.0.5, a whole lot of more bug fixes, including one which I mentioned in the previous video about using multiple tools, where the harvesters would get to the start point and then they'd open up their bunker and wouldn't actually drive any further, which when I saved the game, reset and started again, it actually worked. But it sounds like that may have been fixed in the most recent update. So if you watched the last video and weren't having that issue, that may be why. But anyhow, let's get into it. Let's jump into the tractor and get this course going. So as has become customary, we're in the tractor, we'll press our delete key to bring up our fieldwork course. Now we've got the working width there, noted as 4.4 meters. We'll just jump into the shop and have a look at what the width of the plow is. Obviously it's in the folded state at the moment, but Courseplay, I'm not sure if it's detecting quite the right width. So let's just double check, see what the width should be. So we've got the Pottinger Servo T6000, you can see down the bottom here, it has a width of 4.2 meters noted here in the store. So if we jump back out of here and go and have a look, our working width there, 4.4. So we can click on working width, and that's going to automatically detect it down to 4.3. And you can actually see, even though the plow is angled, you can see there, I'll bring it back up. On 4.3 you can see the red box there around the plow, so it is actually detecting where things are. Now the other thing you'll notice is that it has got an automatic offset horizontally, and we can't at the moment go through and change that. So let's get a course set up and just take a look at this. So really nothing surprising here about our course. We've gone for 3 headlands because we're doing plowing. We've started it in the center, so it will just go up and down. It's a reversible plow, and obviously using one of those you do go from one side of the field to the other, turning it at each end. So we've got all of that set up and ready to go. So let's jump back out and hit start and see what happens. Alright, starting off here at first waypoint selected, we've got our course visible. I'm just going to press play onto this and let the tractor go and get into place. Now you can already see that it is starting to unfold the plow, and it's setting the furrows up to be facing away to the outside of the field, which is what you'd normally do. So you get the deep trench there, the open furrow, which is what the tractor will run back down on its return pass. So we've started in what is the 3 headland passes, although you can see there's probably actually only 2. We might be a little bit offset because of the size, but once again we can't actually go through and change our offset horizontally. We can change our working width, but if we just bring this up and leave it at 4.3, you can see there we've got the red line for the tractor, which is offset from the blue line. Press that again so we can see it, and the work section for the plow, once again if we get into the right spot and bring that back so we can see it, you can see that is actually centered on our course. So the tractor's offset from the course, but the implement is running exactly along on the line, and that is all done entirely automatically here by Courseplay, which is fantastic. And you'll see the same, we'll go and have a look at the mower that we've got set up, and it's much the same for that. But we're just about at the end of the pass here, so we will let the tractor get turned around. A little bit interesting the way it turns around here, and maybe we should have done 4 headland passes. I did do a little bit of a test on this before recording the video, but you'll see here the plow's automatically being turned, so it's putting it back into, I guess, the transport position. But it gets to this point, because this is sort of a 3-point and articulated plow, it doesn't actually like doing it very much, so it does try and push it sideways. A little bit unrealistic there with that, but we'll let the tractor sort this out, and it will manage to get itself turned around and into the correct position. Now as it's doing that, one other setting I'm just going to have a look at here in the tractor settings. So down the bottom here, just a couple of settings I like to check often is raise tools and lower tools. So I actually like to have the lower tools early and the raise tools set to late. So we're just going to go through and change that and jump there. The reason for that is I want to be able to make sure the tool's down on the ground at the right time, rather than starting off and not being in the right spot. But there we go, it's got itself turned over. Tractor's back in the right spot pretty much. Come around to the front, pretty much sitting in the furrow, not quite. That might be a function of the tractor width, I'm not sure, but we are running along the right point, getting all our textures and everything like that are all working in the correct way. So I think we'll leave that going there. In fact, I do wonder whether that's a function of having the width settings. We'll just have a look at that one, the one I'm talking about. No, I was just looking there whether we had even row width activated, which we don't, so it's probably just a function of the width. But unless you're going for 100% realism, it really doesn't matter exactly what it looks like. It's working, it's in the right spot, and it is going to go and plough this field. It will go and run up and down the paths and get everything done. So pretty easy to work with a tool within horizontal offset. Let's jump over to the grass field and we'll have a look at how the mowers work. Not much different to how this one's working, except for that Vermeer mower that we'll take a look at as well. Alright, so down here in the field with the 6R and the mower set up. Now the mowers are currently in the folded state and the working width there is displaying at 3.4 meters. Well, that's clearly not quite correct. If we press the button, you can see that it's not actually picking up the width of this mower. Different to the plow detected that width when it was in a folded state. So we just go through and unfold our mower here and get that down into a working position, and now if we hit our working width again, we've gone up to the 6.7 meters and we've actually detected a horizontal offset. Now this one's a little bit different, it doesn't have an auto width like the plow did, but if we just go and bump these around, you can see this moves. We can press that and it will go back to where it thinks the width should be, and that looks pretty much about right. We've got the front mower sits out a little bit further, and the rear mower out on the right hand side. So let's set up a course and we'll have a play around with the offset horizontal just so you can see what that does as the tractor's going around the field. So there is our course all set up. Now interestingly, I went for the radius corners because of the shape of this field. Sharp corners didn't quite seem to make sense. I've also gone for the racetrack option in here, so you can see we've got the sort of broken down. I've done it into 3 circles, so we've got 1, 2, 3. End up with a little 4th one up there. We're also starting on headlands rather than the centre of the field being a grass. We want to work our way into the middle. So let's jump out into our menu, set ourselves up to first waypoint, and we're just going to press play. Make sure we can see a couple of sections of course ahead of us. We'll just have a look and test out how this is all going to work. So tractor's all unfolded. It's going to get itself around, lined up in position, and ready to start mowing. So mowers are down, as you can see. Right there, we're actually running along the edge of the field. We're picking up a little bit of grass off this side, but what we can do is if we bump around these offsets, you can see that's actually reduced the offset, or it's increased the offset, sorry, in the negative direction, which moves it to the left, which is kind of not overlapping as much as we want. If we go back to where we were, there's our 1.7. If we go out sort of a bit further, you can see we're now missing a little bit on the edge of the field. So press that back to horizontal and automatic. It's actually detected a slightly different automatic width, and that'll be because the mowers are now lowered. This rear mower, when it's folded down and got down there to the ground, is a little bit wider than what it is when it's in the raised position. So it's detected that offset we need to have is minus 1.6. So that's how that works. You can see you can go through and adjust it, so a little bit of fine tuning. We're just going to let this run around the headlands 3 times, and then we'll take a look at the up and down rows and just see how those offsets work. Of course, we're not doing up and downs, we are doing the spiral, but we'll have a look at that race course and just see how that's all functioning as well. Alright, well there we go, there is our headlands all finished. Now we're now jumping into the racetrack configuration. Now one thing to note, obviously the difference here between this and the plow is the symmetrical line is actually offset from the tractor. It's kind of from the left hand side of the mower to the right hand side of the mower, so slightly different having the 2 different implements versus the plow with the way the symmetry was aligned there. Obviously the wider it was, the wider the back mower or the back plow might be, as it depends how far offset that is. But let's just have a look here. That's run through there now in that racetrack mode that we saw in our advanced course creation or advanced course settings, and you can see this is going to run around. It's going to pick up this side. Just going to break these down into some small chunks, make it a little bit easier to manage, not turning as tightly on the end. It's probably actually quite a good setting here for running this kind of course. Courseplay suggests it's actually a good one running these courses for forage harvesters because it breaks the field down into smaller sizes, smaller chunks as well, and makes it a bit easier to turn on at the end. You can see our course generating there on the other side. So that's all going pretty well. What I'm going to do now, that we've seen how this one works, we're going to go and have a look at the Vermeer mower. We're going to reset the save, come back in here into this field with that mower, and we'll have a look at how to manage the offset for that one. So last thing to look at here, the Vermeer mower. Now you can see Courseplay's automatically detected the width there of 6.3 meters. Now if we just unfold this mower is a little bit unique. If you haven't used it previously, you'll find as we get it unfolded, you can obviously run it trailed straight behind, but it actually has an offset in there. And now with my left mouse button and moving the mouse to the right, you can see we can actually change the offset side, or we could actually have it centered so it sort of trails right behind us. Now unfortunately, even if you set it like that so it was trailing right behind us and doesn't need an offset, I'll show you what happens when we create a course for this one. So we've got our course all set up. Now if we just drive forward and kind of put the tractor directly underneath it, you're going to see that course is basically based on this mower running directly behind the tractor like we've got it configured. However, when we back up here, and you would have noticed when we unfolded it, we set to first waypoint. When we press play, Courseplay automatically wants to offset that mower right out there to the right, and as a result it means we're actually missing a huge chunk of the field. So we need to come in here and actually play around with our offsets. And now this is actually going counterintuitively to where Courseplay thinks it needs to go, but we need to go right over and even more than the width of the mower across. I've found it about 3.8, 3.9 is the sweet spot. So that's actually a little bit counterintuitive to the way Courseplay is set up and working. It does work. I have run this field the whole way through, and it will work on the up and down rows, it works on the headlands, and everything will run exactly as you want it to, basically because now Courseplay thinks that the course is in the middle of the mower and the tractor's running to keep that offset running centered here along the course. So it is possible to do. This is the only piece of equipment I can think of at the moment that I've come across it with. You might find that there's something else out there. I know that there's people working on things like disc vine mowers and things like that, which may have the same issue, but it was just, whether it's fortuitous or not, that this was the first piece of equipment I picked in the previous video to test out for offsets. So yeah, it is what it is. There is a workaround. You can manually adjust those offsets to make it work for you. So that is the solution if you're wanting to use this mower. I actually quite like this mower. I think it works really, really well, particularly if you're running it manually for those offsets. But we're not focused on that. We're looking at how Courseplay works. So there we go. That is a really quick run through on tool offsets. Like I said, Courseplay is really intuitive and does a lot of it automatically, and if you do come across a tool like this, then you can go through and adjust those offsets manually. We would have to run along the edge of the field and do the first pass once more just to get it correct. That's not really a big issue if I was to walk away and come back and have to do that at the last minute when we pick the tractor back up. Likewise, just think about things, have a look at your working width when you're using a mower setup like this Mowers over there or other tools. There may be a chance that it's not actually reading the working width correctly because you don't have the implement unfolded, so just be aware of that too. That can catch you out. But there we go, that is Courseplay running tools with offsets or non-symmetrical implements on the back of your tractor. So I hope you found that useful, I hope you found it informative. As always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.